There is a particular kind of person that the modern world produces in abundance. They have read the books. They have listened to the podcasts. They have taken the courses, watched the documentaries, underlined the passages, followed the right accounts, attended the seminars. They know, with impressive comprehensiveness, exactly what they should be doing with their life. And they are not doing it. And they have been not doing it for longer than they would like to count. You may recognize this person. You may, in fact, be this person in some part of your life. Most people are, in at least one area. The knowledge arrives, it resonates, it produces the specific warm feeling of having understood something important. And then the book closes, and the day resumes. And the thing that was understood becomes another thing that was understood, filed beside all the other things that were understood and have not yet changed anything. The distance between knowing something and living by it is not an intellectual distance. It is not a question of understanding more deeply, or reading more carefully, or finding the right framework. It is a physical distance. The distance between the chair where the knowing happens and the floor where the doing begins. And most people spend their entire lives adding to what they know on one side of that gap without ever taking the step that crosses it. Knowing feels like doing. This is the core problem, and it is not a small one. When you read about exercise, something in your body registers the information as related to movement. When you study a skill, something in your mind registers the study as related to the skill. The knowing produces a feeling of progress that is real enough to be satisfying and insufficient enough to actually change anything. And the feeling of progress without the actual progress is one of the most effective ways of staying exactly where you are while believing you are moving. At some point, and this is the moment this story is building toward, a specific confrontation becomes unavoidable. The moment when you look at the list of things you know you should do and realize that you have known them for 3 years, or 5, or 10, and the list has not gotten shorter. It has only gotten more annotated, more understood, more highlighted and underlined, and explained in the margins in your own handwriting. And not done. Doing does not look like knowing. This is why it feels harder. Doing is imperfect from the first moment. It does not have the clean coherence of a concept you have understood. It does not give you the satisfying feeling of comprehension. Doing is messy and uncertain and reveals, almost immediately, the gap between understanding something and being able to execute it. And that gap is exactly where the actual learning happens, which is something that no amount of knowing in advance can provide. The move, the only move that actually matters at this point, is this. Choose one thing, not everything you know you should do, not the complete transformation. One thing, the smallest actionable thing, available inside the largest area of your life that your knowing has never touched. Not because one thing is enough forever, because one thing done is infinitely more powerful than 100 things known. The first step does not feel the way knowing told you it would feel. It is smaller. It is less significant in the moment. it does not produce the clarity or the momentum or the transformation that you imagined would come with beginning. It produces only this, the knowledge that you have begun, which is, it turns out, the only knowledge that changes anything. Not the knowledge of what to do, but the knowledge that you have started doing it. Knowledge is not useless. Everything that has been learned has value. The mistake was never in the learning. It was in the substitution. Knowledge is the preparation for doing. It is the foundation under the house, not the house itself. And a person who has spent years building the most sophisticated foundation in the world and has not yet begun to build the house is not further along than someone who started with a simple foundation and began building on day one. When you begin doing the thing your knowing has been preparing you for, the knowing changes its quality. What was abstract becomes applicable. What was theoretical becomes testable. Every book you read, every passage you highlighted, every course you completed, it does not become useful when you learn it. It becomes useful when you begin doing the thing it was about. The doing is what activates the knowing. Without the doing, the knowing stays exactly where you put it. On the shelf, beautifully organized, completely inert. If you are someone who knows someone, still in the knowing-only stage, still reading, still planning, still preparing to begin, the most useful thing you can say is not more information. They have enough information. What you can say is, you already have what you need to start. You have had it for longer than you know. The only thing missing is not another thing to understand. It is the first thing to do. And you can do that today. With what you already know, the life you have been reading about is not a different life from the one you are living. It is the same life, engaged with differently. It does not require more knowledge. It does not require a better plan or a more complete understanding or one more book that finally makes everything clear. It requires the decision made today with what you already have to begin living the things you already know. That decision is available to you right now. It has been available to you for a long time. The only question that remains is what you are waiting for.